Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Great to have you here today. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm the host of Dr. Pat Show, and just having fun with my buddy Benny here today. Hi, Benny.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? We got a good one with great. Guess Who's in the House?
We do. Ms. Mack is in the house.
Yeah.
We
got it. Mary Jane Mack. Benny, how many shows do you recall that we've done with Mary Jane? Can you? I'm
already out of hands and feet. And that was in the last couple of years already. So.
I know. I'm starting to count the hair on my face to really catch up to
Easy.
That. Easy. I need a RuPaul makeover. That's what I need.
I love RuPaul.
Well, I love RuPaul. Do you love? I love RuPaul.
Yeah, I used to watch the show with my boy's mom back then.
Yeah, I just love it.
Was it RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever?
It's RuPaul's Drag Race, and you know what I love about it is that every year I ask myself, how are they going to get better? And this is important. How are they going to get better? And I've watched RuPaul go through the most ridiculously difficult times and come out the other end and be so highly creative, so suave. So, it's fascinating when I think about RuPaul and I think about the journey. I think about what RuPaul had to go through to be RuPaul. And one of the things that comes to mind for me, and that's today's show, is what do you have to do? What should you know? And this is a very important show for me today. And Benny, of course, and Emily's here too. But here's the question. Do you know what it takes to make sure your immune system is up to snuff? I mean, outside of who RuPaul is, the schedule, the timelines, all of the things that it takes to be that person you want to be has to be supported by a strong foundation. Today's show with Mary Jane Mack, for those of you out there, Mary Jane Mack has been helping people all of her life. She is committed to making sure that the state of the art, what she's learned, what she does, the people she has helped, the healing that she's seen comes to the forefront. As an expert in this field, a medical intuitive, and I'll say this right now because we'll take your calls today, 1-800-930-2819. But this is what she's done. She has studied, she has learned, she's worked with the chiropractic people. There's so many things I could go on, but at the heart and soul of this, it's all about healing. Today's show is all about unlocking your body's potential. And the reason that this is important, I just want to tell you, autoimmune, remember that word, that is just one aspect of what goes on or what could go on. And in the United States right now, 15 million people have been diagnosed with at least one autoimmune disease. 34 have multiple diagnoses. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because this falls in to one of the top categories that we have here in our profession that indicates your body is not working. But it's not the only. You go down the list and you look at what they call the prevalence of autoimmune. And what you ask yourself, what can I do? Because this is growing. And Mary Jane is going to walk us through what that means. But it's an urgent call to action to improve understanding, diagnosis, and treatment. And that's what we're not doing. It's as if we have forgotten what really, really works. Mary Jane, great to have you here. Great topic. Glad you picked it up because I'll tell you, you're sitting here talking to somebody that's on week 4 after the COVID, and I just couldn't believe it. But thanks to you, I'm alive and I'm well. And let's talk about how what we're doing, how to unlock your body's potential, is at the fingertips of all of us, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's like, you talk about your immune system and where you're at. It's like think about COVID. COVID's like having a bad cold. If you're already got serious conditions, that cold's going to be much worse and you'll have more complications. But what I see with COVID, and right now it's everywhere. I mean, everybody's got COVID.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't take much to get it. But the nutrition I use for people when they call and they have COVID is very simple, because when you have COVID, it affects your kidney and your bladder, and your kidney and bladder then goes up to your lungs and sinuses. So it's like not just treating your lungs, but finding what is the root cause, what's the source of it. And that's what I've always done with COVID. Through muscle testing, I could go to exactly what someone needs and then have great results with getting them well, because their lungs could score a 3 and their bronchioles a 3 and they could be all congested. And if you're just treating the lungs, like people will go and get cough syrup and things for congestion, well, it's actually the kidney that needs to be addressed, and that's easy to do.
Well, let's just talk about my baseline where we started, because I want people to understand that the language we're using. You're right. COVID is like what would you say, like a cold?
It's like a bad cold.
Bad cold. Yeah. A bad cold.
And if you're already compromised,
it's a really bad cold.
Yeah.
It's like, get the tissues, people.
Well, here's the difference. There's a test for it now. Before, there was never a test, so everybody just thought they had a bad cold. But now people are going out and getting and testing. Yeah.
And so let's just start out the conversation by what we mean by an immune system and what we're talking about here today. But let's start with stress, because I don't think we can talk about it enough. Let me just tell you this. Once upon a time, when I was in my corporate job, we were one of the first companies, AT&T, to actually use the S word. It was forbidden. In corporate America, it was forbidden. Executives didn't believe it was true. They didn't think it was a thing. And then these health organizations started to be formed, and we started to learn more. Okay, so I'm going back in time. From there to where we are today, we have learned so much about stress, so many studies being done, all of the above. Let's break it down for people and give people an understanding of what stress is, and beyond that, what we can do to reduce it.
Well, that question is always interesting.
Yeah, it is,
when
right?
I say to people when they tell me what's going on, I'll ask, well, what kind of stress are you under? I'm not under any stress. I'm happy. I have money. I don't have anything. Well, of course you do. It's all relative. And so when I question them further, stress is the cause of all illness. If you're not stressed, you're not going to get sick. It causes anxiety, it causes insecurity, and it's all relative. It could be a little thing that happened that stressed you out, and now your brain is going in a different direction. So it's important to look at the stress and the emotions to see where you're at in order to clear those things or recognize that you do have it in order to get well. Because if you don't recognize that, you keep spinning in the same circle.
Yeah. I want to ask you this question. This has been my experience in the past 4 weeks. And I don't want to go into a lot of detail about my own healing journey, and you know more about me than most. But here's what I've discovered. it's like this vicious cycle. It's like a circle where one feeds the other. So you're down a quart. You don't feel well. Call it what you want, flu, cold, it doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden, it seems like the things you worry about exacerbate. And then they exacerbate, and then you feel even less well. You see what I'm saying? It's like this cycle. Once
Well,
you get into that, it's like the stress worry conundrum.
well, it's because you're already stressed, and now you get sick. Now you're stressed over, well, how am I going to get that done, or how am I going to do that? Now I don't feel good. But the universe actually will slow you down by making you sick because you're not looking at what's going on in your life. It will cause you to, the universe will push you, will cause little accidents, little frequent things that keep bumping into you. It's for you to wake up and pay attention to what's going on and to clear things so you can move forward. Because when you're stressed and you have emotional hits and things that are keeping you from going the direction you want to go, the universe will stop you. Whether that's an illness, an injury, or some type of trauma, it's to make you wake up. So when you have things happen to you, first thing you should think about is why is this going on? And if you have like little car accidents, you get little bumper tag and you get another one. You're not getting the lesson. The universe is trying to say, do you get it? Do you get it? No, you don't get it. Okay, one more hit. So most people, when they're aware of that, then they say, oh, when that happens, they think, uh-oh, what am I not paying attention to? And they kind of survey and go through the list and what's going on and figure it out, then they can move forward.
So, from that point of stress, let's talk a bit about today's topic and show, which, of course, is about unlock your body's potential. Um, where do we begin to have a conversation today about whether you're caught in stress, whether you're caught in, COVID? It doesn't matter what it is. You still have to learn the fundamentals of what it means to boost your immune system. Where do we begin?
You begin by making the call to Mary Jane Mack.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
the first thing.
Actually, I don't even call, I text.
Yeah, the thing is when people call and recently the new clients I've had, they're just amazed at what we can accomplish in a short time. It's what's going on with them. It's like the muscle testing tells me exactly where you're at, whether it's emotional, structural, or physical, how your immune system is, where you're at, exactly what we need to do to repair that immune system and get it back, whether it's anxiety or whatever is causing it, it's to identify it. And with muscle testing, it's not me. I have a gift where I could tap into your body, and your body has every answer from the time you were conceived. I can muscle test and go back all the way to when you were conceived. And often, inter-utero, things can happen to the in the uterus that can affect you during your life. And so we could tap into that with neuroemotional technique and clear it. So it's identifying what it is and then allowing your body to take over because your body has the ability to heal itself if giving what it needs. We use nutrition, we clear the emotion and identify what it is and then figure out where you are in your life professionally or where you're going and what do you want, because often it's your career that's slowing you down and causing you to be sick because you don't know what you want to do.
Wow. I mean, let's just talk for a minute about people that are listening today. I want to just talk about this idea in our society, and this was true for me, where we just have to keep going. We don't stop. Do you understand what I mean? We're just, and I'm going to call myself out. Benny has seen me do this before, but it's me. It's like everybody on the planet said you should be laying down in bed. You should just take a couple days, but then you don't. And So what happens with that? Well, it's panic text messages to Mary Jane, and you're sitting in a household where at moments you don't feel like this will pass. You see, because what it does, Mary Jane, it's a body mind interaction. And what helps get me out of it were all the other tools you have. So I want to stop for a minute because I think you've said it. It does start in the mind. And if I don't use the brain tap to help me with this, you understand, just that simple tool, the spiral effect of worry and doubt, that is now infiltrating so many families and lives right now. You know, I did a show the other day and I said, did you know that 500,000 women have left the workplace since January? And you can fact check that, but why? So let's talk about the interaction when we're talking about boosting the immune system between the mind and the body.
Well, the most important part of the body is the brain. The brain, at one time, everyone ever thought about was the body from the neck down and treating the body. And many years ago, it's so 15, 20 years ago, they start talking about the brain. And even in the medical world, but functional medicine, it's been all about the brain and neurology, because if you don't take care of the brain, then the body can't follow along. You never get ahead. It's like the cart before the horse. So when your brain is sharp and functioning, then your body will be functioning and sharp, and then your immune system will come along. But you have to take care of the brain. Like you mentioned, brain tap. It's like the brain has different wavelengths that go from the right to the left side. And as you go along, those brain waves aren't as strong or don't have a pattern anymore. So you're not functioning the same mentally. You might lose your memory, you just might not know what you want. And we have ways of judging that. We have NeuroCheck, which is a system that we could actually hook you up and look at your brain pattern and where you're at and tell how you're functioning. It tells how you're sleeping. It's like the state of the art of brain tracking. So it's about getting your brain right and then getting your body to follow
Yeah.
that, and it's easier. But if you
Yeah.
don't get your brain right, because it's all about your vagus nerve, and I'm sure that's the buzzword for today is vagus nerve.
Yes,
When your
it's a
vagus
good
nerve is
one.
in overdrive, you're in fight and flight. You can't calm down. That's when you have anxiety. That's when you don't heal. That's when you're always sick. You're stressed out. So you have to get that vagus nerve calmed down, and that's why we have tools to do that, along with nutrition. And that's the whole idea, is get your nervous system calmed down so that your brain can take over, and then your function of your body improves, and everything comes along.
Well, we have to take a minute to talk about vagus nerve. For the people listening, they've probably heard the term, but they have no idea what it is, where it is, and why it affects so much. Can you just walk us through that?
Yeah, your vagus nerve goes from like your neck all the way down your body into your stomach and further down. And it is the most important nerve because that's you talk about adrenals and fight and flight. Okay, there's three parts to the nervous system: the sympathetic, the parasympathetic, and the hormone. Well, the parasympathetic is all good energy. That's when your body's healing. Well, most people are in fight and flight. That's when they're in overdrive and their sympathetics in charge or their hormonal system. Now you don't have any good healing energy. And that's when the vagus nerve is in overdrive. So the vagus nerve affects your digestion, affects your heart rate, affects everything. It's the most important nerve in your body. And I recently read a book, and in that book, they've done research studies and where they did an implant, tiny, like the size of a Tylenol capsule, on the vagus nerve. They implanted it in the vagus nerve to stimulate the vagus nerve. It's called the vagal stim. And we do the same thing with our stim pod in our office. We do vagal stim, which calms down that vagus nerve. So when they did this implant, they found people didn't need as much medication, they lost weight, didn't have diabetes, because they were functioning at the same all the time, unlike when people didn't have an implant, then they had actually do the vagal stim and do the things they needed to do to calm down the vagus nerve, but they didn't do it. Where if you had an implant, it was done all the time and all those things were better. So you have to be consistent. But when you do work on the vagus nerve, it's like if you have pain in your body, you calm down the vagus nerve, you have less pain or eliminate the pain. And we have a stim pod in the office that actually does vagal stim, takes 10 minutes. We have amazing results with that. With people that have anxiety, that calm that down, it's one of the things that are simple. They come in, they just do a vagal stim for 10 minutes, a couple times a week, sometimes once a month, once a week, depends on what they need. And they have great results because now they're even and they're not fluctuating up and down and not being able to recover.
I want to talk about this for a minute because it makes so much sense. And here's what I want to say to the audience. I don't know about anybody out there, but have you ever been in a car accident? So let's just start with that for a minute. Simple. You don't have to have a car accident, but have you ever jarred your head or your neck, right? Whether it's sports, happens all the time. But for me, not even knowing this is new information for a lot of people, but it makes so much sense because how many people have you talked with, Mary Jane, where they come in, they have all of the things we just talked about, and then you find out something happened to get something out of whack in your neck. And we hear this over and over and over again. I had a car accident 20 years ago. Don't know why I'm not getting any better. But you said something very important. And I want to talk about the nervous system a minute because this is at the key to boosting your immune system. If we don't understand this, right, and understand the importance of it, minimally, education information is the step one. But step two is how you approach it and what you just said, because there has to be an adjustment of some kind. So that's really why I wanted you to talk about it. It doesn't mean that if you've got an issue, you got to live with it. It can be adjusted.
Well, it's like there isn't anything that we can't help you with. There isn't anything. I mean, if there in our office, there's no such thing as we can't help you, and I mean that would be rare. It would be rare. So the big thing is identifying what is it, and often I do another technique which we haven't talked about much, but cranial release technique.
Oh yeah, talk
So
about
the
that.
cranial bones can get jammed. The cranial bones should open and close so many times a minute. And when it opens and closes, it's moving the spinal fluid up the spine. Well, if you have an accident, hit your head, stress, trauma, you name it, those cranial bones get jammed. Now they're not moving. So those are the people that have headaches, chronic headaches. They always feel pressure in their head. They have ear problems, maybe eye problems. Their vision isn't so good. They don't sleep at night. All those things. Well, in 1 minute, I do a cranial release technique, which takes 1 minute totally, and releases that, and the cranial bones pop open, stop getting back in rhythm. Doesn't mean they'll stay there. Usually they do, but if you're under more trauma or stress or in sports or something, we repeat it. But it is one of the most significant things I do because when people have that done, they say, oh my gosh, when you did that to me, I didn't realize I had all this pressure and I feel so much better. So when you come in, there's so many things I'm looking at. That alone can affect your immune system. So it's about getting you totally imbalanced. And when you come in, I'm really checking everything. I'm not checking like one thing, I'm checking everything.
We're going to take a short break, Mary Jane, but before we go, when we come back, we're going to talk about something that rarely gets talked about in your doctor's office, and that's emotions. We're going to talk about that and the relationship between emotions and your immune system. But before we do that, what is the best way for people to schedule time with you, find out more about you? Let's give out the phone number and the website.
Yeah, it's 888-777-4232. And then info at Mary Jane Mack, and Nancy will be there to take your call or answer your questions.
So when we come back,
and if you have any questions today,
yep,
you could give them the call-in number. You could call in and we
absolutely
could talk about it.
And by the way, I want to just express this for everyone. Mary Jane doesn't just work on humans. She works on our animal friends too. And we're going to talk a little bit about this too, because one of the most misunderstood aspect of, having your animal friend is understanding why they just are not who they used to be, just like people. 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. We'd love to get your questions. I know there's a question that I've already gotten, I wrote down here. But when we come back, what's love got to do with it? We'll be right back. If there was ever, Benny, right? Anybody that knew a lot about emotional distress, Benny, $50 million question. Who do you think I'm talking about?
I think that was her. She said it all. We got Tina Turner, of course.
Tina Turner.
She knows a lot.
Tina Turner.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, and for those of us that watched the Tina Turner, let's say you just grew up with her and her music, Benny, I got to go see her in concert when she first came out with kidding. Private Dancer. Cool. I don't know how I got those front row seats or whatever that was.
Did you go on your own private dance? I'm just playing.
Okay, that's we could do a whole show on that. Okay. But that whole thing right there. Look, and I'm blushing now. That's an interesting story because something very interesting happened at that, and I got to meet her. But that's not the point. The point is, she suffered, and we don't know that she suffered until it came out.
Right.
But if you're Tina Turner, you have got the resilience of an armadillo. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. But if you don't, Mary Jane Mack is here to help us all figure out how to build up that strength and resilience. And maryjanemack.com is where you can go to find out more. Everything we're talking about, every tool, all of it is over there. And then, Mary Jane, what's the number to call Nancy for people to schedule appointments?
888-777-4232.
And you can work with Mary Jane no matter where you are. I was over in New Jersey when my best friend was on her own healing journey, and it doesn't matter. You work remotely.
No, I have people even in the UK. So I have people all over the United States. So because I'm intuitive, I just tap into your energy just like you were with me. Yeah.
I know. I love it. Okay. So, but I want to talk about this because this is one of the things that people can really get underneath. Emotions. We have left them out of the conversation for years, especially in the field of psychology. There are some people that studied psychology and broke down the boundaries and were willing to look at concepts and studies on flow and peace, all of that. But we do not talk about this enough when it comes to the body, do we?
No, well, everything that happens in the body happens because of an emotion. When you experience an emotion, you store it somewhere in your body. For example, liver is anger, gallbladder is resentment, kidneys fear, bladder is ticked off. So lungs are grief, heart is sad. So when you keep experiencing those emotions, for example, like resentment, well, when that gallbladder gets so full of that energy, then you start creating symptoms. And then we do the nutrition for that, but if you don't identify what the emotion is, you keep repeating it. People say, why do I keep getting this? And it's something that keeps coming up all the time that they don't recognize or they're not clear on. So emotions are very important. The other thing is you can have an emotional component, like we talked about before, from intrautero to birth. And when I can track that, some of the things that can happen are, say, your parents didn't want you, or you were an unexpected pregnancy,
Yeah.
and they just at the moment didn't want you. Well, you take that in, then when you're born, you feel not wanted, and you don't know why, and you have these issues. The other thing, big thing, is you have a cord around your neck intrautero. And I can tell you a couple of great stories about that. One of them was a gal, she's a singer on Broadway, and she was having not being able to do what she wanted to do with her voice and having issues. And then found out that, well, when we tested her, she had a cord around her neck intrautero, and that was part of why she couldn't breathe and she couldn't get her voice. So we cleared that emotion once she recognized where it came from. And she just was is so successful on Broadway. She's amazing, and she's a big Resumex user, and
Yeah.
it's really big. Another person, a helicopter pilot, he had an issue when he was flying, a little tightness in his chest, and it didn't have anything physically wrong with him, but he felt this, like he didn't know what it was. And when we muscle tested him, he had a cord around his neck and her utero. When we were able to clear that and he recognized where it came from, totally disappeared. He never had that issue again because it was locked in him, and now he was free. So there's some amazing stories with people's lives, and how looking back that far is important.
Yeah. It's like the perfect storm. And I want to talk about this a little bit because the perfect storm, it's like everything is related. And
Right.
yet, how many times have we heard or you heard the term overwhelmed from people? But you take the approach, and please walk us through this. You work on the thing that's the most priority. Can you talk about that for a minute? Because I think what people don't hear enough about, especially today when you unlock your body's potential, that's what we're talking about. One of the things that we don't understand is you just don't throw everything at everything. So, can you talk a little bit about your approach and how you sort through what the priorities are? How do I work on your gallbladder, Pat, or do I work on your brain or all of it? How do we
Exactly.
do that?
Like, people can come in and I ask them for their five main concerns. And they can tell me those concerns, but what I'm going to do is in the muscle testing, I follow the same sequence every time. It never changes. I check their brain for emotions, their structure, and the nutrition of their body. So when I follow the body, your body has every answer since you were conceived. When I follow your body will tell me in order exactly what we need to deal with. You may have five things on the list, but none of them really pertain. None of them are what I'm going for. There's some other root cause that may be causing those things. So we get down to the nitty gritty right away. When I follow the body and use nutrition or whatever it is that you need to take those steps to get you to a level balance, then we can move into another area. But it's about getting your body balanced in every area, getting you out of a crisis. And if you're in a crisis, that's our first main thing. We have to get you out of that crisis. Most people think when they come or go to a doctor that as soon as they're out of the pain or the discomfort, they're better. And actually, it's just the beginning. Now we got you out of the crisis, but now we have to rebuild you, get your body healthy, get your nervous system up, get everything better, get you where you want to be. Being out of pain is not you're not better. You're not better. You're just
Right.
not in pain. So then when we get on, as your body tells me each step, you get better faster because we're not guessing what you need. I use products, the nutrition products, Biotics Research, very specific. When I use those products, I know when you're taking and doing what I tell you to do, in a certain time, you're going to be better. If you're not better, there's another reason. There's always an answer. we figure that out and get it figured out and then move on. But there's never anything that complicates me. I never say, oh, I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I don't. I mean, I check your body and your body will tell me, and there's always an answer to go to the next step.
Yeah. And this has really been part of the conversation I want to make very clear to people. Once an issue is addressed, let's say it's a gallstone or something like that, it doesn't mean you're done, because depending upon the scenario of somebody that walks in, and that's what happened to me in 2004. It wasn't just one day the mystery disease really just laid me on my back. It was a lifetime, just a lifetime of things that my body was able to take from my own behavior and what I did. And not knowing these tools or not knowing what to do, you experiment at your own expense. And that's the difference of what I want to say today. Experimenting is no longer needed. And that's part of how you approach it. And once we're done with one thing, then we move on to the next, don't we?
And you know what? I could save people so much money and time because, they go to the store, they go to the vitamin store, wherever, and they're doing the best they can or watching TV, the webinars, about health. And they get all these products and they pay a lot of money for them because they're desperate and they think that's going to help them. And it's not the right thing. So you're treating a symptom, but you're not treating the core issue. So when people come in with bags of supplements, and most of them are not any good. So you have to get good, like nutrition, like biotics research, which is top of the line. There are none any better. Have predictable results. Know that when you're taking this product, it's going to work, whether you have a cold or COVID, or it doesn't matter what it is, they work. So it's identifying it, following through, and then maintaining and stabilizing and keeping you the best you can be. And when isn't there stress? People think, oh, I'm better. No, stress is everywhere. So you have to keep on track. And most of my clients, after we get them stable, they go on either a 6-week or 12-week program, and to make sure they maintain that. It's not an instant fix, it's a lifelong program. And I have clients of mine that have been with me since 92. And so, because they know it works, they know where I am, they know what to do. And some, it does it, some are 6 months, depends.
Yeah. Now, here, I want to bring up a specific situation because I really do believe it's related to both human and animal. I have a scenario where this little doggy, Sadie, this little doggy has this little hip problem with her little leg coming out of joint, almost like when you pull your shoulder out of the socket. And so this little dog is the cutest little thing, just beautiful, so cuddly, so sweet, and is having body problems. And so here's what I want to discuss. We don't look at the environment, or we don't look at the dog, or we don't look at that. The doctors just say, how old is she? And then they come and say, do you really want to spend that kind of money? Now, that's a silly question to ask a dog lover, to be honest with you. If people that have money and have dogs, that is like a silly question. But the question is, why is it happening?
Well, for
The
one
dynamic, you understand,
Yeah. Well, what happens with the dogs and the animals, it's environmental, it's what you feed them, it's what they're doing. And so it's easy for, dogs, if they're not solid, they already have something off when they're not stable and their joints don't hold. Something is already not in balance. A lot of time their heart energy is low, so they don't have the muscle structure to hold them together. So with animals, I do the same thing. I muscle test them. I have horses, dogs, cats. I muscle test them, and we do this. We use biotics nutrition. Most of my people have Resomexes they use on their animals, and so they don't take a lot of nutrition, but you have to they can have emotions also. But when you get them solid, you give them the right hay, the horses, the right hay, the right feed, the right nutrition. People have tons of stuff they give them, none of it works, and they don't know why. So all I do is test them where they're at, their structure. Again, the Resumix is a great tool for balancing out the animals, just scraping their body with it to calm down that vagus nerve and get their body in balance. So animals are easy because they don't have the emotions like people do. They're
That's
much
true, right?
faster, much
Yeah.
faster.
I also want to talk about one last thing here because we're talking about unlocking your body's potential today with Mary Jane Mack. However, part of this has to do with people overcoming challenges, or even more importantly, making decisions. So many people are afraid to make the wrong decision. And I want to talk to you about that because this is also an area of work that you do. You're able to test whether a solution scores properly or not. Right now, I'm going through three major decisions for myself, which I will talk to you about separately. But there are decisions that people are making. Something that sounds so simple, like, hey, Mary Jane, should I move to Alaska? And, these are the kinds of decisions. I'm not moving to Alaska, but I'm just saying, or should I leave my job? Or blah, blah. The shoulds, right?
Yeah. Yeah. These are so easy. This is the fun part of what I do. So we get people stable. Then I say, I can help you with your career. I can help you with that. So it's all about muscle testing. Well, they've got three things they want to do. Should I go in real estate? Should I be a health coach? Or should I stay in this job that I have now? So it's like I muscle test each one, and then it makes it clear for them where they're going to go. It's like, well, I can do this, but I won't make a lot of money. Well, they want to make a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with making money. So you choose. So I just muscle test, and it makes them clear to them. So now they know which direction to go, and they save time. They're not going to waste months doing one thing and it doesn't work, and then wind up doing the other thing. And I help people with real estate, with selling real estate, with the cost of real estate, what they should sell it for. I help people with CEOs in Microsoft choosing different jobs. It doesn't matter. The homemaker who wants to do some classes or do some things with their kids, what should their kids, how should they help their kids? Doesn't matter. Any question is there. And when I make it clear, or I just tap in your body and it's clear, it's much faster for you to go where you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun.
It is fun. And part of this too is also the after effect where people can use the Resumax, can use the brain tap to really move that forward. I had a situation.
Another thing I help people with is choosing their doctor.
Oh, right.
You go choose a doctor and you got a list and you don't know who to choose. Well, I have them get me the list and then we muscle test and who's going to be the best. Same if they're going to have surgery. They tell me they're going to have surgery and I say, get me the surgeon's name. And we muscle test. If the surgeon 10 is good, 15 is outstanding.
Yeah.
If they're not a 15, I tell them find a different surgeon.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You and I
Yeah.
went through that with my knee replacements during COVID, which I had. And, it was exactly like you said. Everybody was like, don't go get knee replacement during COVID. And that was so not the answer. And, as a result of that conversation, and I did move forward, getting my knee replaced during the COVID pandemic was so amazing. There was nobody in the hospitals. It was spotless. You didn't have to wait online. There wasn't a lot of people. The care they gave me before going in, coming out. I mean, even the treatment and by the way, during that period of time, the physical therapist came to your house. And so that couldn't have been a better decision for me. And I look back at that now and how many people around me except you were like, no, don't do it.
Well, it's like when your body says it's right, it's right. There's never any doubt.
Yeah.
You have to trust your body and if you doubt the answers, then it's not going to work. You're going to go in the wrong direction. Yeah.
Now, we've talked about a lot today, but there are some things we didn't talk about. Let's talk for a minute about some of the things that you see that are not necessarily what we covered today. And there are many of them. I've shared before, Belinda and I both shared how you added like 10 years on Joan's life by the work that you helped her with. And Joan's openness, by the way. Joan had to be open to do it. But
Oh, yeah.
what haven't we talked about today?
Well, we haven't talked about cleaning your house and how your house
Oh,
environmentally affects you. I mean, it's important to clean the drains in your house, the electricity in your house, the plugs. So when people are, that's another thing I check is everything in the house. I just go room by room. I can tell if you got mold in your house, what's causing the problem, where the mold is exactly with the muscle testing, so that when you have somebody out, you can have them go right to it, and it's always the right spot. But if people can't sleep, uh, they have their iPhones next to their bed, their chargers, their Apple Watch. They have everything next to their bed. That doesn't work. You can't sleep, and that electricity, leaking electricity, and the EMFs causes you to have incontinence, or you're up all night going to the bathroom.
yeah.
So there's certain that those are all things that I check that you have to change and move to make yourself healthier and better.
I want to
So
share a
those are
story about
important
this.
things.
I want to share this about the mold. So, a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention any names, serious mold in the fire escape. I mean, it was really deadly. So, they get the mold people in and they're looking at it. And you did an assessment of the home and you said, there's mold. I'm paraphrasing. You look in the bedroom, one of the bedrooms, there's mold in the bedroom. And the guys that came and did the formal inspection, hello, were like, no, there's no mold. Well, what happened next? What happened next is they started to do some renovating. And in that bedroom closet where everybody said there's no mold, they started, you could see it, black mold.
Yeah.
And, this is what I'm trying to say. You give people options. And when somebody says, no, you only have mold over here, but you don't have it over here, and you're in a flood zone, kind of, I'm just saying we need to open up to look at our options. And that's, I think, one of the most important parts.
Yeah. And when I do the muscle testing, it's always right on. It's
I
always right on.
know.
And when I mean, the with the mold thing, I had a gal, same thing. Her bedroom, she didn't know where it was. She had a lot of work done on her house. And I said, it's in the closet. It's probably under the carpet. I said, but don't pull it up till you're ready to do something with it because you'll stir it up. Well, she couldn't wait, and she went and pulled it up, and it was full of mold.
Yeah.
So
And
she had it taken care of,
but you
it,
don't breathe in those molds. Let's just tell people, if you're around black mold, get yourself a mask, get something. You don't
if
want
you're
to
around
breathe.
mold, yeah, don't stir it up, and
No.
you've got to really be careful. Yeah.
Yeah. And this old school thing about throw some Clorox on it, that we can do a whole nother show, and maybe we will, and talk about this
Well,
because
there's
we're
really good air machines that get rid of the mold too.
exactly.
Yeah, there's a
Mary
lot of
Jane,
things
thank
to
you.
do.
Yeah. What a great show. Thank you. I have two things. Please give out the phone number for Nancy, the website, and then I want to know your personal message, what you'd like to leave us with today.
It's 888-777-4232, or email info@MaryJaneMack, or look at our website, maryjanemack.com. And my message for you is make a decision and change your life. Get on the track, the fast track that's going to take you where you want to go. Stop thinking about it. You can have a wonderful, happy, joyous, purposeful life if you at any time, when as soon as you make that decision, and
Oh,
enjoy and have fun.
I want to just I want to just reach out to the audience for a minute because I do a show with Mark on Thursday nights. And one of the things that I've discovered in that show, so many people that call in are looking for answers and messages. But almost always, the people that call in have some underlying condition. Why? Grief. When you lose a person or lose a job or lose a pet, and that's my language, when they are no longer in your life, when these are things that break your heart, please reach out to Mary Jane Mack.
Yeah.
Because the underlining work around that, losing someone and the impact of that, we already know that. But you don't have to live with it, right, Mary
No.
Jane?
You can change that very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my statistics of doing the show with Mark for so many years, I only counted a handful of people that call into that show over a 4-year period that didn't have some underlying condition. Grief is inevitable, but suffering through it for your entire life, you can get some help. Thank you, Mary Jane, for everything.
Thank you.
And to all of you out there, thank you, Benny, for doing what you do so super duper well. And you, Emily. And again, for those of you out there, maryjanemack.com, everything we've talked about, whether it's a brain tap, Resamax, all of it is over there. Get your questions formulated and give them a call. You don't have to know the answer. We'll see you next time.